I told myself trust was my honor. I told myself marriage didn't need traps or cameras or receipts. So when Anna asked to borrow my card, just in case, for a weekend she said was for a work retreat, I slid it into the leather holder and told her not to worry about it. She kissed me at the door, hair tossed into a careless bun, voice warm and distracted like someone rehearsing white lies. "I'll be back Sunday," she said. I watched her go and let the apartment sink into its familiar silence. The kind that lets you breathe because you don't have to be vigilant every second. That was the point. Letting go felt like strength. If there was a crack in me, it was small, a text from an unknown number that popped up 2 hours after she left. Someone offering a concert ticket she might like. I shrugged it off. People make small things of nothing. But habits are stubborn. When the bank's fraud detection alert chimed my phone 3 nights later, I glanced at it without thinking. A charge or two at an expensive rooftop bar downtown. A stay at an upscale boutique hotel. A dinner paid in full. The merchant address on the alert looked wrong, but the amount matched a memory I didn't want. The glint of a cufflink in a mirror selfie she'd sent earlier, the way she'd laughed that week when I made a joke about suits. I swallowed and did the thing we all promise ourselves we won't. I replayed her messages, the little voice memos, the way she'd avoided answering who she was meeting on Saturday night. I could have called her then, demanded an explanation, let my voice be the hammer. I didn't. Instead, I let my trust be theater. I left a note on the counter, a mundane one. Hope the retreat went well. Dinner on me when you're back. I wanted her to think I'd never looked. I wanted her safe in her lie until I had proof of what lay beyond it. Proof came wrapped in paper and signatures. A few days after she returned, a concierge from the hotel, a man with the kind of memory only people who stand behind polished desks have, stopped by our building with a printed invoice in an envelope. He asked for the cardholder's name and said someone matching Anna's description had used a card ending in the last 4 digits of my number for the suite and dinner. He had a copy of the registration and the signature, my signature, signed by Anna. The concierge's face was sympathetic in the way people are when they hold someone else's error. She walked into the apartment as I opened the envelope. Marie Kondo's neatness couldn't have made that moment tidier. Anna's eyes flicked to the paper, then to my face, then to the counter where the note still lay, the note I'd written to sell my own innocence. For a breath, she looked like she might combust into honesty or defiance. Instead, she smiled the practiced smile of someone who thinks charm can erase ink. "What's that?" she asked, innocently heavy. "It's an invoice," I said slowly. I didn't raise my voice. The calmness in my tone was worse than anything I could have yelled. "From the harbor view. You stayed there Saturday night. You signed for the suite." I slid the paper across the table so she could read it. Her hand hovered over the signature. Her thumb traced a loop of my written name as if touching a photograph of a stranger. Her explanation came in a jumble: work emergency, a colleague who couldn't find a ride, a misunderstanding about which card to use. She tried the old, soft pivot: deflect, apologize, redirect. I let her spin until she exhausted the words. People who haven't lied in ways that show up on receipts don't understand how a lie feels when it's pinned to a ledger. The signature was a clincher. My name, my card, her handwriting where my authorization should be. I could have made it public, called the bank, filled out the dispute forms, let 100 bureaucratic teeth grind. That was the obvious move. Instead, I built a smaller, sharper revenge, one refined to cut precisely where cheating, in its modern form, feels sharpest. Humiliation in plain sight. I called the restaurant that had taken the large dinner charge. I told them I was hosting a small private event that night and asked if they could check their guest list for a reservation under Anna's name. They did. She'd reserved a table for 2 and left in a hurry after charging a bottle of rare whiskey to my card. I thanked them, then asked if they would forward a copy of the printed receipt and the server's notes to me. They did, obligingly. The server's handwriting was tidy and blunt. Asterisk male companion arrived in navy suit, very attentive. Female left with him at 11:42. Paid with card ending 1234. I printed those pages, folded them into an envelope, and wrote a small, polite note. To Anna, maybe next time, tell me the weekend is for both of us. Then, Just to ensure the message landed where she was sure to see it, I slid the envelope under the door of the man's apartment, the address I had found on his LinkedIn after a quiet hour of digital digging. I watched from a distance as the doorman's camera registered a delivery, as a reception clerk picked up the envelope and passed it along. Let him find out in the way cheaters deserve, via a tidy, undeniable paper trail that required no shouting, only sober reading. The next morning, Anna asked me why there was an envelope left on our hallway mat with receipts sticking out and a note in my handwriting. She'd been frantic and plausible and suddenly smaller. "I just wanted to talk," she said, like a person who has been interrupted mid-theft. I let her talk. I let her speak the dangerous words: apology, pleading, promises to cut contact, vows to reimburse the charge. Her voice trembled, but not with shame, with the fear of being exposed. "You used my card," I said finally. "You used my trust." I didn't raise my voice. I only reached into my wallet, took out my remaining credit card, and slid it across the table like a see-through currency of truth. I canceled it, I added, and I filed a dispute. "The bank called this morning. If you want to pay this charge back, you can. If you want us to try and fix the marriage, you can start by telling me who he is and why he needed a room with my name on the receipt." She cried. Of course she cried. People cry when the stage lights narrow and the audience is the person they wanted to deceive. I watched her words fall apart into specifics she couldn't keep straight. She named him, then denied it, then accused me of overreacting. The simplest truth stayed between us like a silent guest. She had used my card. She had enjoyed someone else's company on my dime. The rest was commentary. When she left that evening, not dramatic, no door slamming, just the soft sound of a life stepping away from a promise, she took nothing but a suitcase and a handful of excuses. I kept the receipts and the envelope and a new, easier kind of breathing. The bank eventually reversed the charge and blocked the card. The man in the Navy suit received my envelope and, to my small satisfaction, a terse email from his partner the next day asking if he had any explaining to do. Sweetness, it turned out, can be stoic as well as sharp. Sitting alone weeks later with coffee gone cold, I realized I hadn't wanted vengeance that hurt me in return. I'd only wanted truth that couldn't be dressed up in charm. I had let her think I trusted her because I wanted to believe it. But when the receipts arrived like small, honest knives, I learned that trust is not always given. Sometimes it has to be shown the door,